Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about the Every Little Thing, Every Precious Thing patch. The patch notes just dropped. There's a lot to learn and I'm going to tell you everything. But before we get into the video, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I have a goal of hitting 40k subs by the end of the year and I know we can do it. We're actually so close. Of course, also come to the live stream where you could watch me play the game live and you could talk to me in my community in real time. And of course, join the Discord if you haven't already. All right, let's get right into it. The first thing that they talk about is Ren, the new job. I'm sure you've heard of it so much by now. I have many videos on her and there's going to be even more videos coming forward. New job, it's a warrior named Ren. If you haven't seen anything about her, her Legion block is max speed and an increase in speed, so it's actually a best in slot Legion block. Her link skill is % damage reduction that actually does work on % damage skills, so it's really good if you're learning the game or if you are playing Ren herself. There is a Princess No secondary that was added for her, and of course you can see all the skills here. I'm gonna have the patch notes linked down below if you want to look at every single skill. I'm also going to have my video that I made on her when I tried her out in Korea also linked right next to it. Ren herself gets her own events as part of her release. So she has this Wanderer's Travelogue, which gives you 3x coupons, VIP boosters, and Luxana tickets. You also get a 30-day vac pet for playing on Ren. This vac pet cannot be revived. It lasts 30 days, and that's it. You get a prepared pendant of the spirit. You get a bunch of transparent. You get a lot of arcane symbols, event ring, unique emblem box, soul Urda, and you get an next outfit for her as well, transcendent potion, and you get this medal that looks pretty cool. She has another event as well that's also for her called Tracks of the Wanderer. This is mostly cosmetic stuff. You get this little Saya pet, which can be revived. This is an actual like real pet specifically for her. You get a unit damage skin that actually looks really nice. You get a chair, you get label and chat ring, you get a medal, you get a mount, and you get an effect. You also get a background. There's also a very small event called Get a Cyroid. You literally just click on it and then you'll get the Cyroid. Now, this is really big, so lock in. This is the new Star Forcing revamp. You can expect an entire video just on Star Forcing revamp, but we're going to go over the basics in this video so you know what's changing. If you already have 23, 24, or 25 star gear, this will be converted to 25, 28, and 30 star gear respectively. There are new booming points as well too. So let's say you boom something at 21 or 22, it'll go back to 17. Let's say you boom something from 23 to 25, it'll go back to 19. So not everything just goes to 12 anymore. This helps. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but it's better than what we have right now. These are also all of the new rates for Star Forcing. If you don't know, these are the exact same as the rates in Korea, which means that 0 to 22 is basically the same on event. There's going to be a new event that reduces your boom chance by 30%. We'll get into that later, but 0 to 22 is basically the same, and then 23 and higher is achievable, but you're going to need to res the item many times to get to 23, 24, or even 25, which we'll talk about soon with the item resing. Trace restoration system. This is actually something very interesting and I actually like it a lot. So there's going to be a bunch of different ways for you to res your item or get an item entirely. So the first thing is boss missions. How these boss missions work is you are going to be able to make the boss more challenging for yourself. So you can see here, you could click on any of these bosses and set extra difficulties on them. So stuff like you only have 2 lives, you have 50% less damage, you take more damage, stuff like that. And then you'll see how you get more points from clearing the boss. And then you can use those points to restore the item. But there's a few caveats to this. We don't know yet how many points you need to restore the item. And also, only one character per world can attempt trace restoration each week. So if you're working on this on your main, you can't also work on it on a Legion chip at the same time. I think that's pretty lame, and I really hope they change that. Also, it's only in solo mode, and you can't do it in practice mode. So let's say you're trying to res like a ET or something, and you want to carry your friend, and you thought, oh, whatever, I don't care about the mesos, I just want the ET, right? Well, if you're resing your ET, you can't do that. You have to do it solo mode. Now, the next part of trace restoration is Star Force research. This is something that we don't have the exact rates on either, but it is a really interesting system. So basically how this works is as you farm, you are going to get star specs and shining star specs as drops. And you can use these star specs to craft a bunch of different star cores. So the regular star core is just for ordinary equipment, but then there's Dawn star cores and Pitch star cores that could be used on those items. So like Dawn star core will allow you to resurrect like a Daybreak pendant, or Pitch star core will allow you to resurrect a Source of Suffering. So you could see here in this GIF, you can like insert the star core instead of needing a duplicate of the item, and it'll res the item instead. Now, like I mentioned before, we don't know the exact rates each of these items. I don't know how long it's going to take to get a star core or a pitch star core, how many WAPs it takes. We're going to have to find out in the future as people farm a lot more, but it seems like they're also not affected by drop rate either. So it's just going to be pure just mob count. Now, the next part to this is you can actually create items as well. So you can create Dawn boss set gear, pitched boss gear, Mitra's Rage, Genesis badge specifically. There is no specific comms on Eternals, by the way. So if you're watching this and you're working on your Eternals and you're wondering whether or not you can res them, maybe you can res them through trace restoration missions, but we don't know yet. We're gonna have to find out when the game goes live. So how this Whisper Crystal system works is as you kill bosses, the bosses are going to drop Whisper Crystals. We don't know if this is an RNG drop or how many of them drop, but you're going to get a bunch of these from bossing, and you can use them to craft certain items, including the pitch set. So all of these things combined basically makes it a lot easier to get pitch because you can res them with the star cores, you can craft it with the Whisper Crystal, and you could do boss missions to res it as well. Now, the next part is Arthur's equipment rental. This is a new system being added to the game as well. What's interesting is that it goes away April 21st. So this tells me that like it might not be a permanent system in the game, or it's going to get adjustments every time there's a big patch. But basically how this works is you can rent these items 3 times per week. The first time you rent it out, it costs mesos, and any subsequent rentals cost maple points. And the item only lasts for 1 day. But these items are actually pretty strong for what they are. They're about equivalent to level 160 gear. So think things like Source of Suffering, Eye Patch, Berserk. In terms of stats, it's like having 20 stars of those items. So it's actually pretty useful. And this kind of throws a little bit of a curveball into progression because you might as well just use these whenever you want to do a boss and work on Meso drop gear on that slot. You can even rent out a continuous ring and a level 4 Oz ring. They have totems, and these totems actually are like best in slot even at endgame if you don't have dark totems, I believe, which is pretty interesting. They even have a set effect that gives you attack and boss. You can expect a full video on rental gear as well as we get this unlocked and exactly how it works. Jenny Pass. So we are getting the Jenny Pass. What's interesting about the Jenny Pass is it says that you can buy it 2 times per account. In other regions, it was only once per account, but it seems like it's 2 times. This costs 30k NX cash, so you can't buy it with Maple points, just so you're clear. And basically what the Jenny Pass does is it gives you a lot of damage on C10 and below and makes you live a lot faster. If you are playing a main, you should definitely buy this. In my opinion, it's worth it. But if it's a side character, I don't think it's worth it. It doesn't actually matter because it's just a side character. Something important to mention about the Jenny Pass is the stat bonus that you get lasts until February 10th. So even if you already finish your lib, you're still going to have the bonus stats up until February 10th. Next up is the special skill ring swap. This is super useful. You could just use the keybind to swap rings if you're a class that uses multiple rings. This just helps a lot, and it's an instant swap, so you don't have to deal with opening up the UIs or anything. Super useful. Buff sequence system is also very useful, and it actually makes the average person stronger because you are not going to forget buffs. You could just set up your buff sequence all at once, press it, enter a fight, and then you're good to go. Familiar revamp. This is actually a big one. So there's a lot of things to know about this. The first thing is the stacks of familiars can go up to like 10,000. There's a familiar card bag, so you could just put all your familiar cards in there. All the familiar presets are unlocked immediately. Familiar presets are added to the character preset UI, so you can just hot swap everything, including familiars now. And the UI looks different. So the UI looks a lot nicer. It seems that you still need 10 fam badges to have all 3 slots unlocked. There's also a fam pity in terms of tiering up. There's a pity of 0 to 14. And if you reach the 14, that means you can get a guaranteed tier up. Now, failing 14 times in a row is actually a lot. It's pretty unlikely. But if this pity carries on to the next item, then the system's actually really good. But obviously, it's better that we have a rank up pity anyways, so it's still a really good thing. They also removed a lot of the garbage lines. I'm not exactly sure how much this makes boss damage easier to roll, and they didn't specifically mention what the new lines that are being added are for like rare or something like that, but it seems like this is a huge change as well, because if it's just that much easier to get boss or IED or large drop, then it's great. So they added these treasure chests as well. Basically, what you have to know is as you farm, a treasure chest will spawn. If you break the treasure chest, you will get a lot of XP. They also added a new rune of blessing, that gives you a lot of XP. Instance maps, this is really good as well. All the maps for a level 60 and above, up to 4 people can be in there. So yes, this includes Arcane River. You don't have to fight for Earth Spirits anymore. And then Challenger Heroic World, there's 10 players that could be on the same map as well. All of the weekly resets are now going to be on Thursday UTC. So this makes it a lot easier to remember everything. I doubt Threads of Fate is going to be on Thursday, but everything else will be. Monster Park is a lot better as well. You get more Monster Park coins when you clear, and also you have Grandest Monster Park, which gives you so much EXP. You can open a bunch of Monster Park boxes at the same time too. There were a bunch of class changes in this patch as well. I don't think there was anything too crazy, but you should definitely join your class Discord regardless if you haven't already, to see if anything has changed like in a meaningful way for your own class. Level 3 links are also added in this update. So all the link skills that didn't have level 3 previously now have a level 3. And some of the link skills are like super underrated sleeper good. Like for example, the Ilium link skill will give you 16% damage. Moshen link is even stronger. Explorer Mage link is even stronger. Thief link is even stronger. So if you don't have these at least level 210 on your account, I would definitely try and work on them. It's nice free damage. There's like a new UI change. So whenever you're iframed, your HP and MP start flashing gold, like you got the star in Mario. Event list, you get to favorite your events so you're not confused. This is actually huge for me because I swear to God, I forget which event is which and I just end up clicking through all of them all the time. Storage UI is pretty cool. You get to access your storage anywhere you want. And also on top of that, you could press a button that just sends all of the same items that you have in your inventory into the storage if it's the same stack. For the beauty salon, you could have up to 3 skins saved now as well. This is a big one. Urda request is being changed from a daily to a weekly, and you have to kill 5k mobs a week. Now here's the thing though, is it can only be completed once per account. So people who are planning to double dip on dailies, like you do Urda request on Challenge World, and then you do Urda request on your main world, you cannot do that. That's what it seems like. Now, does this mean that Challenge World is not worth playing on? Definitely not. You should still play on Challenge World. There's all the other dailies that you can double dip on as well. You actually get more materials now per week. You get 9 soul Urda, which is like close to double the amount that you got previously. And then you get 90 frags. There's a job story skip feature. So if you're new to the game, you don't have to do the story for the 0 to 30 quests. There's a new preparation room that's been added to the game. Basically what this does is whenever you enter a boss room, all of your skills will be reset. And if you have a gauge, your gauge will be maxed out. So if you're an arc, for example, you will have maxed out Spectra gauge. You no longer need a key for Black Mage as well, which is really useful. Princess No is getting the revamp in this patch, which means that you don't have to go through all the annoying ass rooms before Pino. You could immediately go and fight her, but they buffed her a little bit, but it doesn't matter. There's a new boss reward distribution system. So how this works is if you go to the party settings and you toggle on distribution, this makes it so that every single person who's eligible for loot, yes, that includes blue dots, gets an even distribution of all of the items. For things that are really rare items like pitch drops, everybody who is participating and is eligible to loot will get a number between 1 and 999, and whoever gets the highest number will get the pitch drop. So if you're in Pugs and distribution isn't on, leave that shit and go make a new party and turn distribution on. So this way you have no risk of anybody stealing anything. There's some boss changes that were made this patch. Lucid phase 3, if you fail it, she'll just go back to phase 2 and her health will recover a little bit. Then you could try phase 3 again. And then some boss nerfs to like some of the bigger bosses like Kaling, of course Chaos Vellum, one of the hardest bosses in the game, Saren, Baldrix, and Slime. Slime is a big one because now the test is starting every 90 seconds instead of every 150 seconds, which means that you could just enter, do your burst, do the test, and then just burst again. You don't have to have these awkward cooldowns in Slime. And you only need 2 rock slimes to block the door now. There's this Cernium Sacred Power buff. If you talk to the Flame Priest, he'll give you 30 stack for an hour. This is good if you're like super new and you need a little bit more Sacred Force. It makes training just a little bit easier. There's a new Collector's Elixir, which is a very, very powerful item. You should always use this when you boss. You get 100 attack, 30 all stat, and skill level +2. If you don't know what skill level +2 means, basically what that means is on your 4th job, you see how my skills are +2? That means your skills are higher level. So for certain classes, you'll actually get a lot of extra power just from that. Like for example, on Arc, I have a skill called Battle Frenzy that gives me final damage, right? But normally this would only be level 10, but because of the +2, I'm getting another 2% final damage. So it's actually a very significant buff. It's going to be easier to consume all of your symbols as well. And yes, you can transfer Absol boxes and Arcane boxes starting this patch as well. We don't know if previously existing boxes can already be transferred. I'd say you probably can transfer them, but we'll see after the game comes up. You can hold more storage bags in your ETC tab. Every single one of these bags, you can hold more of them now, so you don't have to have as cluttered of an inventory. Twilight Eve is the main event that is happening. Basically, how this event works is there's different parts to it. One of them is a server-wide part where as you are just playing the game and killing bosses, this hourglass slowly fills up and you will get more perks that are applied to every single character throughout the entire world. And you'll also get rewards along the way based off of how much you filled in the sand. So you'll get like a mag pot, fairy heart, and a bunch of other stuff. And if you kill mobs, you can get even more sands of time that contribute to your gifts down below and also fill up the bar at the top. Some of the really important things from this is Soul Urta from hunting plus 100%. That's like an insane buff for training and increased rune EXP buff. This is a really, really good one too. Every week as the meter fills up, you will be getting more and more rewards. And some of the really cool rewards is like this background changer over here. So when you log in, there's a new background. I like that they're doing this. I hope they always add these every single event so you can have like cool backgrounds. This is low-key a better way of doing legacy than like badge or something. So Ivernia's bounty is another part of the Twilight Eve event. Basically how this works is you just press check in and you get 3x coupons and you get the ginseng and licorice and you progress the track every single day. So every day, 5 times a week, you will be getting new stuff that unlocks every single week. And on day 50, you get a hyperburninator, which means that there are 2 hyperburns in this event. The one that is on your login screen when you just create a character, and then the second one from the coupon, which you get on the 10th week. And then there's the shops. You can look forward to an entire shop guide just on this. There's weekly strawberry farms, there's extreme growth potions. All this stuff is good for your legion. And then there are event rings, which are also really good as well. There's the boss shop. So basically how the boss shop works is as you kill bosses, you will get 2 types of currencies. You'll get dark traces and regular traces of time, and you can use these to buy stuff from the shop. You can get daily 3x, you could get unlimited VIP selectors, you could get a ton of flames, 750 black flames, and then you could get abyssal flames as well. Up to 500 abyssal flames is insane. These are the event buffs. The event buffs are actually even better in this patch because it allows you to max out more stuff than normal. If I were you, I would start off by maxing Monster Park XP and then Grandest Daily XP as well. And then if you're bossing, do boss and IED. If you're training a lot, run the XP and normal monster damage if you can't one-shot. Arcane Force is going to be really good for Black Mage if you want to get 1.1 or even 1.3x with the Jenny Pass. And then Sacred Power is also good if you're trying to do more damage on things like Kalos or Saren or whatnot. Eternal Gilded Clockwork. So basically how this works is as you kill mobs, you will get these gilded clockworks and you just use them and you get a ton of XP. It's like a VIP booster essentially, and you get so much XP. Like this Eternal Gilded Clockwork is like giga EXP and you could only use it once a day. It has like an insane amount of XP. Leppa's Dashing Carriage. This is the typical event procs. So as you are killing mobs, this will appear and just blow up the map and give you a lot of XP. It's 15 times per day per character, and the rune buff is already applied to this. So you don't have to wait until you get a rune and then turn it on and then turn it off when the rune's on cooldown. It just always has the rune buff on it. Eve Anticipation is just an AFK map that you could sit in the event. This is usually good for getting characters from like 101 to 130 overnight. Meslo Shop is usually a scam, but this time around, it actually does have some stuff that's kind of useful. They low-key nerfed the price on Android ear sensor clip. This used to be 1.2 bill, now it's 600 mil, which is actually pretty good for your Android. But this ceiling wand coupon is very, very important if you play on the Challengers World. You should buy these every single week at the end of the week, right before it resets, because this is going to be really, really good for the Mystic Seal, which we'll talk about a bit later, and I'll have a whole video on that in particular, but just know these are really good. Of course, there's the Challenger World. I have a lot of videos on this, but basically Challenger World, you're going to have Challenger coins and Advanced Challenger coins, which you can use to buy stuff from the Challenger shop. There's There's a lot of perks on playing the Challenger's world. Like, for example, there's going to be the Challenger missions and the Challenger quests that you have to do. And as you complete the missions, you get more and more Challenger points, and then you will tier up your Challenger rank. So you go from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, emerald, diamond, master, and Challenger. If you want to sweat Challenger world, it's going to be super important to try and get diamond as fast as possible because it makes your Mystic Seal easier to roll good lines too. There's a lot of really good rewards in Challenger world. I have videos on this, so definitely watch them and look forward to even more videos. But basically, as you rank up your Challenger rank, you get a lot of frags, you get an Oz ring, you get even more frags, you get a lot of cubes, you get a event ring and a legendary scroll. And in Korea, they had it so that whenever you got the Challenger medal, there was a number in which who got Challenger first, like by order. But I don't know if we're going to get that in our server. Now, as your Challenger rank increases, you also get stronger with more and more event buffs. This 70% ID is an insane amount, by the way. Like, these event buffs are very strong. There's the Challenger World shop, which lets you get 3x as well. So you get the 3x from Twilight Eve, you get another 3x from the shop, and you get 3x from Challenger World shop too. So there's a lot of 3x's every single day, so you keep training. Challenger's Pass, which costs $20. Thank God they didn't increase it. Gives you a lot of stuff as well. The gist of it is it gives you a ton of free XP and a bunch of more frags, nodes, and symbols. I would definitely buy this if you're on the Challengers world. The really crazy thing is it gives you 20% bonus XP on the Challengers world, and it gives you 200% extra normal enemy damage, which means that one-shotting is going to be so free if you have the Challenger Pass. I think it's definitely worth buying. And then these are all the things that you get from the Challenger Pass. So you get even more symbols, more XP, and more potions. You just get like a ton of stuff. Arcane Seal. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. Basically how Arcane Seal works. I'm going to have a video about this, by the way, is you have a daily 3 tries that you can use on this thing. You have this little seal, this like round thing. And to keep it super simple, you just have to upgrade it. And there's a chance that it upgrades to different tiers up to legendary. And whenever it upgrades, the passive stats that you get from it increase. But the chance of you getting a really good upgrade is also based off of what rank you are in the Challengers world. So if you're diamond, the likelihood of you getting a really good line is much higher than if you're below gold, for example. So that's why I said that it's important to get to diamond as fast as possible, because you only get 3 tries per day, up to 20 per week actually. So if you don't hit a high rank as fast as possible, you're going to be continuously rolling with lower odds, which is not good. Frontier Pass, this is something that I didn't honestly remember that Korea got. Frontier Pass, this is something that I didn't remember that Korea got, but it's for non-Challenger World only. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. You can skip this if you want. You don't have to pay the $50 to get the premium Frontier Pass. Obviously, if you do pay the $50, you will have an advantage over somebody who doesn't. But the stuff in here isn't so crazy broken that like you should FOMO over it. Like, obviously it's good, and if you buy it, you will progress faster, but it's not so insane to the point that like I would say you have to buy this. Burning Events, Terror Blink is for newly created hyper burns only. This just gets you to 200 instantly basically. And then there's the Hyper Burning Max, which has the typical hyper burning rewards. If you choose to hyper burn on the Challengers world, you will get a lot more rewards on the Challengers world for your hyper burn versus doing it on a normal world. So I would recommend doing that. Beyond Burning is a continuation after Hyper Burning Max that gives you an additional level every time you level up to 270, and you get stuff along the way. So you get like Soul Urda fragments, symbols, level 5 Arcus symbol, level 5 Odium symbol, and another title that gives you even more stats. Item burning, I have a video on item burning, but basically how this works is you're going to be given a set of gear and you're going to be given missions. And if you could complete these missions, which are here on the left, it's basically just level up and defeat a bunch of bosses solo. The gear will get stronger and stronger and eventually have like really good pots and be 19 star with really good flames. And you can do these missions in practice mode, so you don't have to actually consume your clear. Like, let's say you want to do hard Lotus instead of normal Lotus, you could just do normal Lotus in practice mode and it'll count for the mission. There's a tutorial mission event as well that just gives you a bunch of free shit for playing the game. Just follow what it says. It's super easy. It's like changing a preset, try turning off the buff sorting option, defeat CZAC, practice mode counts. It's very easy and you get a lot of extra stuff. The NX hoodie that you get for free actually isn't even bad. Winter Countdown, the second part, could be claimed after the event, so make sure you claim all of this stuff. And last but not least are the Sunny Sundays. We actually have really good Sunny Sundays this rotation. So the first one is a super farming event where you have more XP whenever you farm because of Rune, and you have more Soul Urda and Monster Pack XP, and then you have Monster Pack XP, Mag Soul, Inner Ability, and the Hexamatrix enhancement. And then you have 5, 10, 15, which is pretty interesting given that we have a new Star Force system, and we have minus 30% reduction in star forcing. This is super important. You definitely want to do your star forcing on this event. You should always do it on the minus 30% boom reduction. It's actually very important. And then you have Monster Pack XP with the Rune XP again, which is super good with the Soul Urda. And then last, you have another Rune XP. So a lot of the Sunny Sundays this time around are like super centered around training, and it's actually really good. There's actually one last thing that I forgot to mention. It's called the Ignitia set effect. Basically how this works, and again, I'm going to have another video on item burning coming up, is it makes it easier to swap other gear sets into your challenger set. Because previously, if you were to take off one of the challenger pieces, let's say you want a hat for cooldown hat, or if you want to swap a glove for crit damage glove, you would be risking losing the challenger set effect. But now there's this thing called Ignitia set effect that lets you kind of maintain the challenger set effect while still having the other piece of gear equipped, which is pretty interesting. Anyways, that's about it for the patch notes. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Pull up to the live stream tomorrow when the patch comes up, because we're going to be going through all of this live on stream. And if you haven't subscribed already, definitely make sure you do that. We're trying to hit 40K. Appreciate you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Shout out to my beautiful members: Blazefire, Shooms, Shagad, Ravi Espa, Koga, Skittles, CKJ, Vampiric X, Fresh and Juicy, Kelvin, Cloud Figs, Trashbot, Henzo, Dylan, Cloudy Quesos, Jason B, Sylvester L, JA, Russell M, Mochi Teddy, Zero Sama, Shredbot, Michael R, and Suna TM. I appreciate you guys so much. If you guys ever want to submit art, put it in the Discord fan art channel, and I'll see you for the next video.